Why do you think you're most tempted to burn everything down and ruin your progress when you're closest to manifesting what you want? This isn't random. It's literally your subconscious and your nervous system fearing becoming the next version of you, fearing being authentic. But guess what? That's actually your ego, and who you are now is not who you need to be in order to manifest what you want, because who you are now is inauthentic to what you want. So you either have to sacrifice the old you for your dreams and for being authentic, or your dreams will be sacrificed to protect the ego, to protect the old you. And that's the trade every single time. What is self-sabotage? So your brain is literally wired to survive. You're not wired to succeed. If your brain was wired to succeed, everyone would be successful. The thing is, as soon as you start shifting your identity, and as soon as you start actually working toward the reality that you want to create, your brain starts perceiving all of this unknown territory and unfamiliarity as a threat. And what is safe to your brain and to your nervous system is the same old identity that you've been identified with, the same old person doing the same old things, because you've been doing the same old things for so long that your brain knows this is the realm of familiarity. There's nothing unknown. There's nothing I need to fear. I'm safe in this position. That's the main problem. Because your brain is wired to survive, you'll perceive success as a threat instead of something that you actually want. Success, in my terms, is being authentic. That means being able to be who you want to be and being able to do what you want to do unconditionally. I'm letting go of everything that is inauthentic to who I desire to be, and I'm becoming all that I am. I'm just remembering who I really am. Because the fact is, if I desire something, it's who I am. Whatever you desire is what makes you unique. And so you have to express that desire in order to actually manifest it and materialize it in this physical realm. When your doing doesn't match your being, or vice versa, when your being doesn't match your doing, that's when you self-sabotage. For example, if you tell yourself that you're a millionaire, but you're not doing what a millionaire would be doing, well, what's true and what's not true? Right? If you tell yourself I'm a hard worker, but you're not actually working hard on shit, what is actually true and what's not? If you tell yourself I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow and go for a jog, and then you're in bed and hit snooze, what is true and what is not? You see, that's why actions speak louder than words, because actions are direct expressions of the subconscious mind. It is literally a reflection of what is happening within you, of your internal state of consciousness, of your identity, of your frequency. If you want to know someone, you look at their behaviors, you look at their actions, because that's exactly what is happening internally. But on the other side, if your identity is not aligned with the actions that you're taking, so for example, if you perceive yourself as someone who's just fat, someone who's unhealthy, and you start working out, you start eating healthy, you start going to the gym, well, the fact is you're going to be demotivated, and it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of hard work. Why? Because you're still operating in an identity, in a state of consciousness, in a frequency that is not you. And so there's mismatch between identity and outcome, between who you desire to be, the actions that you're taking, and the results that you want to experience. And that's when you lose all the weight just to gain it all back in a fucking week. That's when you start working on your business, but your identity says, no, 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 no. This is unfamiliar to me. Things are actually getting a little bit uncomfortable. Oh my God, I gotta actually do all these things. I gotta actually learn how to market. I gotta actually learn how to develop my website. I gotta actually do these things. Yes, you have to actually do these things. Let's just say you get in a new relationship, for example, right? And the relationship, it's like actually going good. Automatically, your brain's gonna be like, this is unfamiliar. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on right now. What is happening? Why is this relationship going as planned? Why are we not arguing like I always used to argue in every single one of my other relationships? It's unfamiliar, and your brain perceives this as a threat. And to survive, you want to go back into your old identity because that's where you feel safe. That old frequency that you're identified with, that you are attached to. And this is the main problem. Now, all of this comes from unconscious fear and limiting beliefs, which come from childhood conditioning and trauma. And don't be afraid to go back into your past to reflect, because you're not your traumas. It's fine to feel emotions. It's fine to reflect, because at the end of the day, who and what you are is far beyond your past. You have no clue. Let me shine some light. Most people are identified with an old version of themselves that has been created by the world. You see, When you were born, you were indoctrinated into certain belief systems. Your parents created you. Your teachers created you. Your friends created you. Your siblings created you. Your cousins created you. Everybody created you. But who are you before the world created you? Who are you before you were given a name, before you were your gender, before you were your age, before your career? Who were you before you've constructed this identity based on your past experiences? I want you to really earnestly reflect on this question that I'm asking you right now. This is the main problem. You think you're your traumas. You think you're your past. You think you are who this world created you to be, but that's not who and what you truly are. You're not that fragmented personality that you're now identified with, that changes whenever you see somebody, and then changes whenever you see somebody else, and then changes whenever you see somebody else based on how they perceive you. That means that that person is in control of you. If you have a fragmented personality and you're different with them, and you're different with them, and you're different with them, that means that you're operating in ego consciousness. You're not this fragmented personality. And the fact of the matter is, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, and you're not your behaviors. You're not even your beliefs. So then who are you? You are pure awareness. You are the awareness of your thoughts. You're the awareness of your emotions. You're the awareness of your belief. You're the awareness of your past. You're the awareness of it all. But what is this awareness? This awareness is a creator. You see, most people think they're their mind. Most people think they're their body. But the fact is, you're not your mind and you're not your body. You are awareness. And the mind and the body are the instruments through which you, as awareness, create reality. So although you experience your body and you experience your mind, you're not the experience in of itself. You are the experiencer. You're able to detach from the body and the mind. You're able to observe your own creations, and you're able to change them according to your own likeness. You are created in the image and likeness of God to create in the image and likeness of God. We are all gods. And until you come to this understanding, you will never be able to heal. Listen to what I'm saying, because this is the most important thing. And honestly, the rest of the video doesn't really matter if you don't fully grasp and understand this. You are a divine fractal of the one God. God is within you, and that is the very essence of your being, pure awareness. And it is through God that everything is created, through this awareness. Through this infinite intelligence, infinite potential. And you use your mind and body to create the reality of your dreams. If you don't consciously use your mind and your body, guess what? Your mind and your body are unconsciously going to use you. Now that you know the truth, let's talk about how to shift your state of consciousness, shift your frequency, shift your identity, so you can finally create and manifest the reality that you want, without falling back into the old patterns of self-sabotage. The first thing that you have to do, now that you're not afraid of reliving your past, is you have to earnestly reflect on your childhood and the way that you were brought up. So for example, the way that my dad used to handle things is mostly through anger. Now, not all the time, and he got way better because we talk, and I love my dad to death. But he used to always handle stuff through anger, and because of that, I was also taught to handle things through anger, and I actually thought that it was right. I thought it was correct. And that's why it's so important to see people's innocence. Obviously, it's not correct to always handle everything that doesn't go your way through anger. No, they're like, there's different things. There's different ways to handle things, right? You don't always have to be angry at something. But the fact is, I didn't know that, because I was taught to handle things through anger. I was taught that it was okay. I had no clue what was right and what was wrong, because what I was taught was right was actually wrong. And what was right in my family's eyes was actually wrong. And so what is right and what is wrong at the end of the day? It's literally whatever you believe to be true. Obviously, there are eternal truths, but the fact is, so many people are brought up, they don't even question their past. They literally identify with everything that they were taught. The first step is being curious. Is what I was taught right? Where is this emotion of anger coming from? Where is this jealousy coming from? Where is this envy coming from? Where is this shame, this guilt coming from? Is this how I was taught to react? Is this how I was taught to change? Can I open myself up to a new possibility? And the answer is yes, you can. You just have to be courageous enough. You have to be willing enough to admit that the way that you were taught was not right. And this isn't even about how to respond to things. This is about your entire identity, because your entire personality is shaped by this childhood conditioning, is shaped by this trauma. So if you're unwilling to actually face it, then you're unwilling to change yourself. You're unwilling to change your identity. There is no blame and there is no justification, because there is no identification, because you're not that. And until you awaken to this realization, that's when you'll be able to actually change your personality. That's when you'll be able to actually change your identity for good, once and for all. You heal by shining the light on the darkness. What this means is being conscious of the unconscious. That's literally what it means. And the way that you do this is by feeling emotions when they arise, because the subconscious mind is the emotional storehouse of your entire being. And when you feel emotions, you get the corresponding thoughts that are related to those emotions. And so this is literally how you shine the light. Just feel emotions. Feel them. Don't identify with them. Don't justify them. Don't blame anybody for feeling them. Just simply feel them. And be aware of the thoughts that arise when you start feeling your emotions. See, most of us were not taught how to actually deal with our emotions. As a matter of fact, we were taught the opposite. We weren't taught how to express our emotions in a healthy way and how to change them and how to transmute them. We were taught to suppress them. Let me give you an example. It's like whenever I was angry or whenever I was even sad, I'd go up to my dad and my dad would be like, well, why are you sad? Why are you angry? Just rub it off. Just fuck you. Who cares? But now imagine saying that to a young child, telling them that their feelings don't care. So imagine the younger you coming up to you and saying, I'm depressed. Like, I don't feel good. Something happened. Someone bullied me. Let's say they said someone bullied me, right? Would you just say, oh, just rub it off? Who gives a fuck? Who cares? How would it make that child feel to not be validated? Obviously, that child does not feel safe. That child does not feel secure. And that child has to suppress those emotions that arise from being bullied, which is shame, right? Which is the lowest possible emotion there is. It's very close to death. The child had to suppress shame in order to get love from you, in order to get love from the parents, because the child had to choose. I can either feel my shame and express it, or I have to hide it so I can finally get love from my parents. So just start being aware of your personality, of your past conditioning, and its relation to each other. How your current identity and state of consciousness has been shaped by what you were taught, by what you saw in your past. And don't be afraid to feel the emotions, because you are not the emotions. Once you reflect earnestly, your next step is figuring out exactly who you desire to be, what you desire to do, and what you desire to have. And you have to figure this out with 100% certainty. Write it out. Create a vision board. This is who I desire to be. This is what I desire to do. And this is what I desire to have. Most people, they're only focused on getting things. They're only focused on having. But they're only focused on that because they're coming from a place of lack. They're coming from the place of not already having. They're coming from the place of scarcity. I don't already have what I want, and so I have to do everything in my power to finally get it. And then when they get it, they still feel unfulfilled, because the whole reason as to why they want that thing is to fill that empty void and fulfill themselves, because they're operating from scarcity and lack. So you want to focus more on being who you want to be and what you want to do rather than what you want to have. What you want to have is just an indication of who you desire to be and what you desire to do. You see, the ego looks at these things outside of itself because it's operating from lack, and it says, well, I want the money so I can finally be at peace, so I can finally be free. I want to move into that house so I can finally experience joy. I want to get into that relationship so I can finally experience love. But you're looking for what you actually are in essence outside of you. You're looking at love, peace, and joy, and you're conditioning it, and you're saying, well, that's love, that's joy, and that's peace. And until I get those things, I'm not going to feel love, joy, or peace. So this is the main problem. When you're identified with the soul, which is the seat of the almighty I am, and the I am is awareness. When you identify with the soul comes from a place of already having. The soul's desire isn't to take and receive, isn't to just focus on self-gratification. The soul's desire is to express its authenticity, its unique individuality. You see, those desires that you have to gain things, the desire to have something out here is really the desire to express it from within. So release your identification with the ego who just wants things outside of you and start identifying with the soul. Because once you authentically become who you desire to be, that is when you let go of everything that is not authentically you. All the people that are not supposed to be in your life will fall out of your life. All of the people who are supposed to be in your life will come into your life. The opportunities that are not for you will leave you. The opportunities that are for you will come to you. And this is the essence of the law of attraction. You're always attracting things. But the problem is we're operating so much from a place of lack and scarcity that we're attracting the wrong things into our life. We want external validation. We want these things for fulfillment, and we're never going to be fulfilled when we're just seeking outside of us for what we actually are. Now, the third thing, and this is probably the most important thing, you need to identify the patterns that lead to self-sabotage before they arise. So you want to be hyper aware of these four things: conscious action, emotion, subconscious beliefs, and unconscious reactions. So when you're first starting out, when you want to change yourself, right, you start taking conscious action. Just start observing how you feel, the emotions that arise when you start taking that conscious action. Maybe you're going to be frustrated, maybe you're going to have doubts, maybe you're going to have fears, because those emotions, right, are going to present those thoughts. They're going to present those subconscious limiting beliefs that are going to lead you to reacting unconsciously. So for example, you start eating healthy, you start working out, and the emotions at first, it's like frustrating, and the subconscious belief is that it's hard. And the fact is, we identify with that subconscious belief and we think that it's always going to be hard and frustrating, but it's not. Because everything becomes a habit. Everything that you consciously create becomes a subconscious program that expresses itself automatically. So the hard work and, the frustration, this is really so temporary. People don't understand this. You drive in the car for your first time. Yes, you had anxiety because you're like, what the fuck? Like, what if I crash, right? But now you don't even think when you're driving a car. So everything that you do initially takes conscious effort, conscious action, before it can become an unconscious reaction, before you can reprogram your subconscious mind and your subconscious mind just handles it for you automatically. And it's usually during these phases of conscious action where we have anxiety, where we have doubts, where we have fears, where we have these limiting beliefs, but we just have to feel them and allow them to be whatever they are. Because the fact is, we're not that. No, it's not always going to be frustrating. No, you're not always going to have anxiety. You're stepping into a new realm of unfamiliarity, and it's a starting point. This is the reason why you feel this anxiety. And again, this is very, very temporary. You have to get through this phase. You don't suppress those emotions. Feel them. Why am I having anxiety? Why do I feel afraid? And this is where the subconscious limiting beliefs are going to come, right? And if you're identified with those subconscious limiting beliefs, once you feel these emotions, well, at that point, you're going to react unconsciously. So this is the exact formula that we're following here. But let's say, for example, that you start taking that conscious action, you get through a month of just constant learning, right? But now you're not seeing any real results. So immediately, the emotions that you're going to feel is, this is not fucking worth it. This is frustrating. This is always going to be the way that it is. Why? Because you're looking outside of yourself. Because you're identified with external results. And what happens is now the subconscious beliefs start coming back in. So even if you get through that initial phase of hard work, you're still in that realm of unfamiliarity. You have to understand this and you have to realize this because unless you can make the unfamiliar familiar, unless you can completely normalize you continuing it for a month, 3 months, 1 year, it doesn't matter because what you desire to have, remember, is not outside of you. It's a state of consciousness that is seeking to be expressed from within you. And you remember this, and you're never going to look outside of you for external results. You're never going to condition your happiness, your joy, your power, your love outside of you. You're going to say, I am this right here, right now. You're going to focus on internal progress instead of external results. The results don't matter because I am the result. I am the goal. There is no other result that matters. There is no other goal that I have to pay attention to. I am the goal. So this is the formula that we got to go based on. Again, once you start taking that conscious action, yes, you're going to have anxiety. Like, feel these emotions, see the subconscious beliefs that arise from those emotions. Do not react unconsciously. Do not fall back into old patterns just because you have anxiety, just because you have some fear. And if you get through that phase and things start becoming a little bit more automatic, things start becoming more effortless, detach from external results. Stop looking at things in a week from now, in a month from now. Stop expecting. Just literally the only thing that you have to focus on is what is happening within you. Am I fully aligned? Am I operating on the frequency of already having my desires? Am I truly the one I say I am? And am I expressing this being? And what is the energy that is arising when I do express this being? What am I doing it for? What is my intention? The next thing that you have to do is you have to transcend lower emotions. What are lower emotions? Shame, guilt, envy, jealousy, fear, pride, arrogance. This is all ego consciousness. You have to transcend that. The way that you really do this is just by opening your heart. It's by giving yourself unconditional love and support. Most likely the unconditional love and support that you never received as a child. So you have to be your own parent. You have to support yourself. You have to uplift yourself. You have to see yourself with grace. If you're constantly seeking change from shame and from guilt, well, guess what the nervous system is going to perceive as safety and security? Shame and guilt. So your brain is literally going to bring you back into the realm of shame and guilt just because that's what you know to be true. That's what feels safe for you. But I promise you that that's not going to last long. You want to change from the place of love, from the place of inspiration. You see, envy and jealousy, for example, you're literally repelling the reality that you want when you are envious of someone, when you are jealous of them, when you judge them, when you talk shit about them. Deep down, that's you. We all come from the same source. So what are you jealous of? What are you envious of? Yourself. All judgment is self-judgment because all of it is a state of consciousness that exists within you. When you finally become authentic to your true self, to who you desire to be, to what you desire to do, because you finally stop judging yourself and you stop judging others and you're only focused on yourself, that's when you'll be free. Don't go the route of destructive criticism, which ultimately comes from external results, right? Where you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't do this right, or damn it, I thought that I was going to make this much, but I really made this much. This deal didn't close. When you look at that, of course, you're going to destroy yourself because you're attaching your identity, you're attaching your self-worth to these things outside of you. But when you focus on internal progress, there is no outside of you. When you focus on internal progress, that internal progress becomes positive reinforcement. And this is actually going to uplift you. So rather than giving yourself destructive criticism, you start giving yourself positive feedback. With this, there is no more shame, there is no more guilt. There's grace, there's unconditional love, there's support, and there is what actually gives you life rather than what takes life away from you. I'll give you an example. I did a launch last year and I thought I was going to clear $1 million in a week. The reality was I cleared $200,000 and that was in 2 weeks. And what happened was I attached myself to that outcome. Give me $200,000 in 2 weeks, $100,000 a week. That's crazy. I know that's crazy for, someone who doesn't make that much. However, for me, I had this self-worth that was conditioned to how much money I made. And so I allowed that circumstance right there to literally create limiting beliefs within me saying, I'm not worthy. Damn, I can't do this. And I started giving myself destructive criticism instead of positive feedback and positive reinforcement. And I wasn't able to even express gratitude because internally I was just sabotaging myself. Internally, I was telling myself I'm not worthy. And so really the key is understanding everything should come from internal feedback. Oh my God, yes, I did this. Yes, I finally launched this. Yes, that is good. Express gratitude for the smallest things. It doesn't matter what it is, because even the smallest things, this is what leads to the big results at the end of the day. But you're never going to get to those big results that you're looking for if you just attach yourself to the small results that are going to lead you ultimately to those big results. You're going to destroy yourself, and it's just not going to be a fun time. You're not actually going to be enjoying the journey at all. All right, now I got some action steps for you to really just lock this in. First action step is I want you to meditate. I want you to meditate not once, not twice. I want you to meditate religiously every single day. Every single day. Meditation should be a priority. If you don't meditate, then there's something very wrong, because meditation is how you enter into the realm of your true self, pure awareness. Well, how do you meditate, Dave? Put your palms facing upward, put them at the upper part of your thighs, back straight, close your eyes, take conscious, deep breaths, and enter into a state of pure awareness. This means just be present, be alert. Be aware. Even if thoughts arise, just be aware of every thought, process it, and bring your attention back to the present. Just be aware. Don't identify with the thoughts. Don't try to change the thoughts. Don't try to justify the thoughts. Don't work with the thoughts. Your purpose for meditation is to just simply be aware. After meditation, you can reflect. And this is when I would highly encourage you to just journal who you want to be, what you want to do, journal the realizations that you might have came to, journal your logic down. And just keep a journal. Always journal. Journal to reflect. Journal to create. Get my journals, because my journals are going to completely change your life. Now, in meditation, you have an option once you go deeper to visualize, okay? So once you start processing, once you enter this state of pure awareness, you start visualizing yourself as the one that you desire to be. You start visualizing yourself effortlessly doing what you know that being who you desire to be does. You visualize yourself already living the reality that you want to live. You visualize yourself already having these things, but don't just focus on the having. Focus on the being and the doing. Visualize yourself consciously responding rather than reacting automatically from a limited program, right? From that old frequency, from that old identity. Give yourself obstacles, challenges to visualize yourself overcoming. This is how I visualize. This is how you constructively visualize. The next action step is just affirm with conviction. So when you are creating the reality that you desire, when you're taking that aligned, inspired action, I want you to affirm it with conviction. I am this person right here, right now. I do this effortlessly. I am this. This will literally reprogram your subconscious mind on a completely different level, because your being and your doing are unified in harmony. So when you do this, this is when you want to affirm with conviction. I am healthy while you're eating healthy. I am healthy while you're working out. I am in a loving relationship while you're in that loving relationship, while you're treating your partner with respect, while you guys have transcended arguing, have transcended all this shit, right? I am the one that I desire to be when you feel that temptation to go back into old patterns, right? I am this desire to be, and then you start consciously responding in a different way, the way that your new identity, the version of you, the most authentic version of you would respond to that situation, to that outcome. So you want to affirm with conviction when times like this arise. This is so important, because this is exactly what's going to reprogram your subconscious mind, and this is what's going to create those new neural pathways in your brain. By the way, your nervous system, it's literally just the physiological manifestation of your subconscious programming. That's all it is. And last thing is get rid of all instant gratification. These are all distractions that are essentially preventing you from feeling certain emotions. These are all distractions that are preventing you from creating the reality that you want to create, from being the one that you desire to be. The reality of it is, when you're choosing instant gratification and distraction, you are actually just avoiding healing. You're avoiding creating the reality that you want to create. You're avoiding being authentically you. You're avoiding manifesting your dreams. It's all avoidance. You're avoiding feeling emotions. So stop avoiding things with pleasure. The happier you are, the less pleasure you're going to seek externally. Okay? So just be happy within your very own being. And I promise you that those pleasures, the instant gratification, it's just going to go away. Focus on conscious action. Focus on right action. And when you focus on that, there is no resistance to wrong action because you're automatically going to be operating on a different frequency that's not in alignment with these distractions. That's not in alignment with any of these things anymore. Everything boils down to how you consciously respond when life tests you. You're either consciously responding as the infinite creator, or you're reacting from a limited ego identity, a limited version of you, an old frequency, a previous state of consciousness that you've mistakenly misidentified with. I promise you, this is not hard. It may take some initial effort, but don't be scared for some initial effort. Once you gain momentum, you will reprogram your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind will handle the rest effortlessly. And if you want to make it even more effortless, cultivate a burning desire. You have to want to be the one that you desire to be more than being an older version of you. You have to want to do the actions, exhibit the behaviors that this being would be doing more than exhibiting the behaviors that are just keeping you stuck in this old frequency and old identity. When you desire to take action, action becomes inspired. You get in spirit with the reality that you desire to create. You literally harmonize yourself with it. And now the action becomes inspired action. It's all desire. Really want it. Look, I promise you one thing. If you truly desire it, it's already yours. And the self-sabotage shows up right before you break through. Why do you think you're most tempted to burn it all down when you're closest to manifesting your desire? It's not random. It's literally your subconscious fearing becoming that next version of you, becoming who you authentically are. It's your ego saying this isn't you, but it's actually you're not your fucking ego. Who you are right now is not who you need to be in order to manifest what you want and in order to move forward authentically. So you either sacrifice the old you for your dreams, or your dreams will be sacrificed to protect the old you. And that's the trade every single time. So stop running from your patterns. Reflect on them. Journal. Observe how you were shaped. You don't need to blame. You don't need to justify. Just become aware. Everything boils down to awareness, because awareness is what you truly are. And awareness is how you end the cycle of self-sabotage. Meditate. Step into your true self. Visualize the version of you who is already living the reality that you desire to materialize. See how they act and act like that. Express that version of you in the present moment, and understand that the present moment is the only moment that will ever exist, the eternal now. Detach from your external results and only focus on who you are being and what you are doing, and making sure that that is unified in harmony. Audit yourself weekly. Ask, what did I avoid? What was the energy that I was creating from? What story did I live out this week? And then get honest. Journal it. That's how you get real feedback. Look, I promise you one thing. If you truly desire it, it's already yours. And self-sabotage shows up right before you break through. Stop running from your patterns. Reflect on them. Journal. Observe how they were shaped. You don't need to blame. You just need to become aware.